maybe?
Can you move it up? Oh, it's, never mind. That's fine. I ain't touching this thing.
Finally got your chairs.
I did get my chairs, thank you very much. No, I just got in at 6. Yeah, you're good.
Mine's up.
I saw him. Michael? Did you bring it?
All right, I think they're all right.
You did it.
I don't need anything
Mike.
on here right now.
So it's like, hopefully, or candy.
You're looking for candy?
I crossed it out. It was,
It's you.
Hi, how are you? Good, thanks.
It's out there in verbs and
Okay.
and talking about what?
Oh, boy.
No. 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 Hey Sam, how are you? I'm good. Hi.
Huh?
Oh, thank you.
I'm the cameraman today. One of my main responsibilities.
my spine can't give up this.
Nah, he's in the blind spot.
We did have an executive session prior to our open session. No votes were taken. Now I will open the October 24th town council meeting to order. If you would please stand to pledge the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I just have one announcement. November 11th at 11 o'clock, right outside here, the Ben Eddy Building, there will be a Veterans Day ceremony. It's always very nice. It's put on by Commander Fortier. So I would invite all to attend. We have no public comments this evening. Consent agenda.
Make a motion, we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second. I will note that we did receive the Human Services monthly report, which is not listed here, but just so that we know that it is presented. Any further discussion?
Yes. I would like to request, I'm not sure whether to do it in open session or if it should go into executive session, but I would like to talk about the general warrant, an item on there, and I have a couple of questions about it.
So we can remove the general warrant from the consent agenda and hold it separately and discuss it right now. So we would remove that general warrant number 6 in the amount of $274,514.53 from the consent agenda. That being said, any further discussion on the other items?
I just have one question.
Yes.
The recycling, how are we doing?
I don't have my laptop with me, so
Okay.
can somebody,
And mine's still updated.
Hold on.
it is RI, right there, that one. RIR. I look at it all the time and I can't remember because I'm always
Seems to be
I have it.
down.
it fluctuates.
So, in September, we had 133, so for the year, the 12-month total was 1785 for municipal waste. And
That we have paid out?
rejected was 7, which is high for us. And, yeah.
Do you want to know comparison to last year, how we're doing?
Yeah, that would be,
Okay, so last year in September, this is what we have as the latest. In September of 2018, we were the municipal refuse ton was 147, okay? And this year, it's 133. Last year for the recycling tons, it was 53, and this year it's 43. Okay,
Thank you.
does that answer your question?
I'm just curious.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on, you wanted to have, discuss
I
the
think
general warrant.
perhaps it should be done in executive session.
I'm not sure it can be.
It can't be.
A general warrant
Okay.
is a public,
Okay.
so it has to be in.
Well, I have a question on, it's like a two-part question. It's about you, Joanne, it's not personal. I know we made the monthly payment to her in this warrant, and, my concern is this. We are paying another company that we didn't sign on with because Mark was unable to fulfill the duties of, the solicitor. To me, it just doesn't, it seems like we're being underhanded. I know we're not, but we're not paying the company that we hired as a solicitor, we're paying a separate company for your services. And also, not only that, that's part of the question, the other part, in that part of the question, I was wondering if Mark is coming back. If he isn't, then perhaps we should stop our involvement with him and join with your firm. That's one part of the question, go ahead.
I do, well, the,
I can answer part of it.
I believe that the agreement that, or what Mark had approached me with was that the plan was that he would be back in January. So,
Oh, I didn't have a date, okay.
yeah,
He's just spoken to me recently and said that he's getting his father's
Things in
affairs
order.
in order,
Okay.
and that he was going to be discussing with us come December as to whether or not he would be back in January.
Okay, well,
because I had mentioned that I probably would not be able to continue full-time after January, only because once March and April roll around, the Senate is very heavy. So to then, I leave early on Wednesdays to get to the meetings, it would be difficult to then leave early on Thursdays as well. So as of right now, I believe Mark will be back in January, but.
okay, would you still be working
Yes.
on, what, litigation?
No, so it would go back to what it was when I originally
As our assistant.
left the firm. So I do planning, zoning, prosecution, litigation, and he does town council and kind of miscellaneous
Would
items.
would we be still paying you through the other law firm?
It would be whatever is easier for Kelly. So previously, you'd send the check to Mark, and then Mark would cut me a check. If it's easier for Kelly to split the check, I mean, that's,
Okay. The other question I have is, I thought that the extra billing was for litigation only.
it is.
But I was informed that, I'm led to believe that there have been other billings coming from you for other work you've done. In other words, I thought the stuff that came out of the town hall, whatever was requested over there came under the fee that we pay for the year.
It does, unless it's litigation or essentially kind of potential or preparation for litigation. So if it's something that's going to litigation, but, I mean, I would assume there are a couple zoning things that you'd be, I mean, I know what's on the bill for this month. But if in order to file a lawsuit, I have to actually start doing something, then that is what those bills reflect. The bills are detailed, so I would not say that the bills should be included in the general warrant, only because they probably include some client information. But the detailed bills are provided to Kelly, and I think, I mean, you can look at them.
Well, I think that would be good.
Yeah.
Then we'd have a better, at least I'd have a better understanding and feel better.
Well, you can
About
certainly
the way
go to
it's-
Kelly and ask her.
Yeah.
to see it.
Well, I thought we could get them in our packet. All right, I can do
So
that too, but.
the only
I'm
concern
not
is that
sure about litigation
if you
being in-
release, yeah, because there are things on the bill that discuss, you know, because it is so detailed, that could then breach the confidentiality, but Kelly does get the bill, so I think you can just review
I
it.
summed it up this period, and that's why it's broken out by party as
Yeah.
Jennifer had given me, and so it's broken up in here, the detail of the bill is.
Well, my concern there is, for this, is because I think we're going we pay the litigation out of contingency, and we're really taking a big hunk out of contingency this year. Is that correct?
We did last year too.
Well, it seems to be going up and up and up, and that's my concern, and I
Well,
don't
this year,
know.
I think we spent
What's more money?
3,000 maybe of the money in contingency, but it's as of what, September maybe?
Yeah, this is only this year.
Yes.
Okay, but I'm afraid of that continuing, and that was my concern.
But my concern about it being,
I
we can
get
all
that.
go
I
in and
get that.
see it,
Okay,
but having it distributed,
got it, okay.
that would be my concern.
Okay.
Do you have any other?
No,
So do we need a motion to?
We, yes,
approve?
to, yes.
Okay,
Approve
I'll make a
that.
motion to approve general warrant number 6 in the amount of $274,514.53.
Second.
Just further discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on to the police. Hi, I didn't see you there, sorry.
Well,
Chief Wright is giving his report. Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
thank you.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thanks, Dave. Well,
Okay, last 5 weeks, we've had 4 arrests, 1 warrant, 46 incident reports, 11 accident reports, 37 citations, and 1,641 calls for service. Guys are out there working hard. I know we've had some issues with cars being gone through. I have them out there. It's a crapshoot trying to catch them, but we will catch them. My guess is kids going through the cars. Sergeant Domingos was out there last night. In fact, he stopped the vehicle in the wee hours of the morning right on Cucumber Hill Road, so we're out there, we're vigilant. On a positive note, November 4th, the U.S. Army has invited me to take a Black Hawk helicopter ride along with the other chiefs. I'll be representing Foster and bringing home an award for our town. Each individual chief has their own award. So, pretty good. I haven't been on a helicopter since I was in the Middle East, so this time it'll be for fun.
Good. I have one question.
Yes.
Seeing the accident reports, 11, on, was it Plainfield Pike?
Yes.
We had sent a letter in the past to the state to put out new signage.
I did.
Have there been more accidents out there? Is it lessened?
Well, they haven't sent their men out yet, and I spoke to Mr. Renzi too about them getting more speed limit signs on Cucumber Hill Road. And I spoke to Gabby Batate, who's the head of the DOT, and she put me in charge with her engineer, and they're supposed to be coming out. They said it'd be about a 3-week span of time. They gotta do an assessment, but they are gonna get those signs out there.
On Cucumber, but how about on Plainfield Pike, where we sent them a letter before to put signage out?
You know what, I gotta follow up on that. I haven't
Okay.
heard, I did reach out to them, but maybe they forgot. I'll get on that.
I was just curious as to whether there've been more accidents out there or less.
Is that speed limit signs or curb signs?
Curb
Or
signs and-
Yes, the Cucumber Hill Road with
The planning board had sent us a letter.
They
Yes.
just put some reflective tape on some guardrails, so when you hit it, you can see that.
Thank you, Mr. Lindsay. Thank you, Chief, and have a good time in that helicopter.
Thank you.
I would not want to do that. Okay, we have 2 public hearings tonight. The first one is the solar ordinance. I have been speaking with Jennifer, our planner, and I did attend the last planning board meeting. They are still going through it, so Jennifer would recommend that we continue the public hearing to November 14th.
That was left open.
That was left
Yeah.
open to this meeting, so if we can continue it to the next meeting.
I'll make a motion that we continue this public hearing on the solar ordinance to the meeting of November 14th.
second.
Discussion? Good, thank you. Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, opposed? Okay, thank you. That way Jennifer will be here and the planning board will be done with theirs. We now have Mr. Savazio's appeal of removal from office, and you requested for it to be in public, in open session. I will ask you to come forward and speak your,
Yeah, I asked this because, I'll look at some notes. I want to explain to the council and the rest of the citizens that are
Mr.
here.
Savazio, one
Yes.
second, please. Mrs. Rogers brought it up. Do I need to open it
Yes.
into a public, thank you. So I will open the public hearing for Mr. Savazio. I will let Mr. Savazio speak first. If there's anybody else that would like to speak, you speak to the council. I will allow Mr. Savazio to answer if I feel it's appropriate. I will also ask that we be civil and be appropriate with our language. This is open session now. Thank you, Mr. Savazio.
Yeah, I
Can you
wanted to
state your name and
explain to-
address?
Ron Savasio, 142A Old Plainfield Pike in Foster,
Thank you.
02825.
Thank you.
I wanted to explain to the council and citizens that are here the difference between opinions and research. My first involvement in Foster was the elderly and disabled tax freeze when I had two Bryant College professors run the financial numbers and projections, and they projected in 20 years it was going to cost the taxpayers $10 million. Bob Boyden, the Republicans, attacked me. Cheryl Hawes and the Democrats attacked me. Denise, I actually had a conversation with you out here. I remind you of it, the three people. And your comment was, well, as long as it's available when I retire. And so...
Excuse me, Mr. Savazio, I do not believe I said that.
Well, I'm
comment.
sorry you did, because I reminded you of the three...
Mr. Savazio.
Well, okay, so you didn't say it. I lied. All right, so moving on, I lied. So what we have is about 20 years later, I have Mr. Hawes and Mrs. Hawes reminding the citizens they would never do anything to hurt them, but it did cost the citizens $10 million. And I did have Bob Boyden, ethics charge filed against Bob Boyden for voting for his parents, and they were upheld. My second involvement was on the planning board when I read the residential compound and voted 1 against 4, telling the board that what was in front of us could not happen. Warren Ducharme called me a week later and said, you know, you were right. Maybe we should re-vote it. And I said, no, I don't want to be bothered with it. My third involvement was when the tower ordinance came in, Foster and the planning board and the council wanted to build a 100-foot tower. I read the federal ordinances and found out that we couldn't build a 100-foot tower because it restricted their ability to be financially secure. So our ordinance was taken out about that, and Brad Gorham wanted it, job security. My fourth involvement was reading the state bus monitor's ordinance and telling the citizens of Foster for 7 years that we didn't need bus monitors. And that saved over $1 million to date for the citizens. In 1992, I stood in front of the council and asked to get a town manager. Bob Boyden at the time was the chair and said, you know, we don't have the money for that. At that time, the budget was $10 million, and we had $3 million in surplus. Today, the Charter Review Committee is going to bring out, maybe we should have a town manager, and we have about $1 million in surplus, and Bob Boyden is on the Charter Review Committee. I worked to get a full-time planner. Most of you don't know what the bridge was, against the bridge, who were all my friends, and against the Republicans. And we got a full-time manager, and our Republican Party removed our full-time planner, which we desperately need. When I was on the planning board, we put in the fee in lieu of for minor and major subdivisions, which raised money. What we were taking at the time, what was developed by Randborn at the time, people were giving us wasteland in the back that we couldn't use, swamps and everything. We developed the fee in lieu of. I read the research on full regionalization. And any research tells you that coordination of curriculum is necessary for improving education. Cheryl, you worked for the teachers union and were against that, worked against it in town, you won the day. It cost us $3.3 million and 20% reimbursement.
All I did was answer you that night, I
Excuse
never
me,
worked on it.
may I go on?
No.
Okay, thank you. I lied again. And 20% reimbursement on all capital projects. So that thing has cost us, at the Payne School, at least $4 million. Here's a really good one. I got Mario Cirillo to retire. We had absolutely no reason to fire the guy. I got him to retire and leave a year and a half salary on the table. And superintendent before Michael Barnes. Okay, went to him alone, all right? And you attacked me in the paper on that, all right? So ask your lawyer if any superintendent will walk away from a year and a half's.
I didn't attack you.
Yes, you did.
No.
Okay, I lied again.
You do have a habit of that.
Yes, I do. Okay. I got Mike Barnes to take your job. I also, with another person, fired your superintendent and principal at the Payne School, which started improvement education at the Payne School. And Mike is now your superintendent. And I've brought in principals from other places to improve your education. Here's a great one. I charged Swamp Meadow with another person for the use of the Payne School. All right? 2 people on the board, the school committee before me, who were involved in Swamp Meadow, allowed Swamp Meadow to use the Payne School, heat, electricity, had a brick in the door so they could get in with the heat running out, and I charged them and got 10% of the gate. And don't tell me you didn't attack me.
I did attack you for
Yeah,
that.
there you go.
The others, no. That
Right.
one, yes.
See, finally I got one. Okay. I warned both the town and Michael Barnes that zero budgets are no good and will never recover. And you can talk to Kelly if you don't believe me about that. We're never going to recover from 3 zero budgets. 1 the Democrats, 2 the Democrats, and 1 the Republicans. All right? We will never recover from those 3 zero budgets. All right? To get people elected again. I voted for St. Croix, 5-1. Everybody told me I was wrong. I don't know what it cost us, thousands of dollars it cost to fight that, and basically I was correct. I voted for, doesn't matter, I voted for the charter, I voted for the 101 solar farm. I was the deciding vote, and the reason I voted for it was because our assessor told us we were going to get $52,000 worth of money. Now, every time I do these things, I take on some group, and I end up as the bad guy. I read the charter and actually found out what the planning board is supposed to do. All right? And when Jeff and I met with Denise, deny this, you said you're trying to take power from the council. We don't have any power.
I did tell you
Okay.
that, Ron.
Okay.
And that's what we're trying.
I have, since then, tried to get half the money taken away from the land trust. I have not been successful, and down the line, there are 2 things, 2 more shoes that are gonna drop on this town financially, and this is one of them. And the charter review, and you people have walked away from it, all right? But this is the one that's really gonna bang you down the line. You'll all be dead, nobody will remember your names, but courage is real important to sitting there. And as far as it goes, I have put up with so much crap from so many people, it's incredible. Wayne Johnson's wife said I was vile. Okay? Now I'll tell you something. I could be the most vile person in the world, but children are a reflection of their parents. And none of my children, none of my children have ever been arrested.
Mr. Savazio.
All right?
Mr. Savazio, you
I'm
can...
done.
Thank
I'm
you.
done. You're done. You won't see
Thank
me
you.
anymore.
Good.
But one thing.
Good. Continue, Mr. Savazio, would you
Do not say that this is for Foster. This is a lack of integrity to just say it's vengeance for me telling people all these years how stupid you people are. Thank you.
Use a mirror.
You know, we'll see if you're as good a sport at losing as what I do.
Lovely. So now, we have our vote. I will ask anybody, excuse me, before we have our vote, is there anybody in the public that would like to speak?
You forgot your hat.
I need my
If
hat.
there is anybody who would like to speak in behalf of Mr.
What am I gonna do
Savazio?
without my hat? Thank you.
Do without you.
Is there anybody who would like to speak in opposition?
I have a lot of things
I
I'd
will
like to
close
say, but I
will
won't.
close the meeting, the open session, I will close that and I'll bring it back to the council. Is there anybody on the council that would like to say anything?
Yeah, I would. It's just sad that Ron cannot behave, because he does a good job
I agree.
on the planning board, and it's such,
What good job?
it's
What did he do
disgusting.
that was so good?
He brought a lot of good things forward, he really has.
Name something.
Well, there's one right here on tonight about the truck ordinance.
Well, that's not on the agenda.
Oh, it's not?
No, it's not.
For the 14th, I put it in there so you would see it.
Oh,
It's gonna be
okay.
on the 14th.
Okay, it's not on tonight.
No, it's not.
Be on the 14th.
He has had some good ideas, his way of presenting them and way of handling them and his conduct to the
disgusting.
citizens of
It's
this town
disgusting.
is disgusting, is right. It's disrespectful, and I've had many, many people call me, stop me, wherever I am in this town, and say, please.
He's a bully backed by bullies.
I'm done. He's gone, that's it.
So, what is the pleasure of the council?
I make a motion that we remove Ron Savazio from the planning board, never to be on it again.
So it would just be a.
I knew it wasn't gonna be that easy.
It has to be a motion in the affirmative, and the motion, I believe, would be to.
I make a motion that I'm
grant-
happy to remove him from the.
So you've already voted to remove him. This was his appeal. He
So,
could present a case against, his case should have been against the reasons that you noted for appeal. Clearly, that was not presented.
That didn't
So
happen, right?
your motion would be in the affirmative, would be to grant his appeal, and then,
to let him continue on the planning board.
yes, because that's the motion in the
That would be,
affirmative.
so now, then
Because
you
it-
say.
no,
Then you
It's in the
say-
affirmative.
You follow,
Well, it's not coming out of my mouth, what are you thinking?
you follow the rules that you have to
I
make the
get
motion
that.
in the affirmative.
You have to say it in the positive.
Go ahead,
So-
Denise.
All right. I can't make a motion, well, I
No,
can
you-
make a motion in this.
Do you want to make a
I
motion?
can't, yeah, I make a motion to grant Ron Savazio's appeal and allow him to remain on the planning board.
Second.
Okay. Discussion.
Stop it.
I'm
Just make the
sorry.
vote.
Mr. Renzi,
Oh,
you had an opportunity to defend him.
We
You guys don't have to dwell on it and make the comments as a town council. You're just no better than him, okay? Truthfully.
Thank you, Mr. Renzi.
You
Just
might
make the
be
vote.
right, this instant, you might be right.
Just make the vote and
Anybody?
end it.
Is there anyone on the council that would like to make a comment?
I'll say, I've dealt with Ron for years and years, my opinion has not changed. The way he behaved here tonight is just another example. We have a lot of business people that go before the planning board. I know personally, some of them have felt threatened, they felt bullied, they felt disrespected, they felt belittled, they've been insulted. And as a public official and a representative of the town, no matter how good any of his ideas are, we can't have that.
No.
So that's, for me, and I thought we were supposed to give reasons when we vote.
Last time, this time.
We don't have to this time?
No.
Okay. And he hasn't done himself any favors since this all began. He's escalated it. You know, he hasn't been on his best behavior. He hasn't tried to prove us wrong. He has not changed, and it's not going to change.
I think Ron, and I've told him many times, he has good ideas. Let somebody else present them. Let you present them. He can't. He has to do it. Someone, when this all started, someone recommended a book to me. It's A Republic If You Can Keep It, and a particular chapter for me to read. And it discussed civility and how it's the background and the backbone of our freedom, and the freedom of speech, which I know Mr. Savazio had told me he had the right to do. But we also have a responsibility with that freedom of speech, and that is that we have to respect other people's freedom of speech. I don't think Mr. Savazio does that. I really don't. I don't think he's civil. I don't think if you disagree with him, he gets very honorary. I don't think he treats others with respect. He had asked me if we could get a different assistant solicitor to attend the meetings, because our assistant solicitor, doesn't always know what she's talking about. There have been times when our assistant solicitor could not attend, and we had a substitute solicitor. And two of them, on their way out, while I was sitting in the back knitting, said to me, "I will never come back," because of the way that they were treated. That answers some questions. That being said, I will take a vote. All those in favor, if you want Mr. Savazio to remain on the planning board, you would vote yes. If you do not want him to remain on the planning board, you would vote no. All those in favor of Mr. Savazio remaining on the planning board, please state aye or yes. All those opposed to Mr. Savazio remaining on the planning board, please vote no. No. Thank you. Moving on to old business, we have the awarding of town hall painting bid. Mr. Law spoke to me, and I guess you two had a discussion. We had tabled it to this meeting, and now Mr. Law has requested that we table it to the spring because of the cost and what some of the other things that are coming down the pipe as far as some costs for DPW.
We looked at his budget and I just wasn't comfortable saying that we could come up with an additional 20,000 at this point. It's still very early in the season.
Excuse me, didn't we appropriate that at the beginning of the year when all that, he came in with all the roof and all that?
But the price came in $20,000 over bid.
Okay, didn't,
Over
I think,
budget.
geez, as being on the planning board, I think I might have asked, did we get any bids on this, or you just
We
throwing it
can't-
out there?
But he had gotten some feelers, if you will, but we could not put out bids until we knew.
Do we
So,
know what?
and it was $20,000.
That wasn't the money to fund it.
So,
Wait a minute, I'm confused. So he got feelers that was $20,000 short of what it really would cost. So what kind of feelers are those?
If you're gonna continue that, then.
yeah.
Was that?
I've been advised that if we're going to continue the item, table it to the spring, we have discussion at that time. So do I have a motion to table this into the spring?
I'll make a motion to table the awarding of the town hall painting bid until future date in the spring.
September, March, we're thinking.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Well, wait a second, I do have a question. If we don't have the money now, how are we gonna have it in the spring? Are we gonna know what we have left to
Well,
spend?
no, currently he has a few DMs contacted him, he has to remove some oil tanks on plans. And we haven't had our winter season yet, we don't know what snow removal's gonna cost.
Actually, the oil tank should have been planned, we were notified 2 years ago.
He should take, he was notified of 2. And we've removed both of those, but in this process, DEM has discovered 2 others that he didn't even know about on some, I believe the Nike site.
Right.
And now he has to take
So
those
now
out.
there's 2 more.
And the last one cost us $20,000. Because
That's
of
pretty
the
acceptable.
So until all of that's done and we've gotten through the winter season, we really,
Right.
I'm not prepared to say we have the money.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on to new business, change in policies and procedures for licensing. Mrs. Dillon, you requested this. Do you want to present? Oh,
Can
Ms.
I-
Wallace, you're presenting,
Well,
okay.
I'd like to, make a statement here. Because of her, because Ms. Dillon spoke about this at the last council meeting, I went and I spoke with her, regarding this, her concern, to change our policy for licensing. It has always been the policy, I wrote this so I get it straight.
Another question.
It has always been the policy to advertise every year for the following licenses: campground, kennel, boarding, secondhand sales, private detective, gun shop, victualling, peddler, and holiday sales. By changing the policy of advertising, the businesses in town will realize the savings if we eliminate some of these licensing requirements. As we are trying to promote new businesses, we agreed that this would be a good first step. Sign-offs would still be required from the building and zoning, police, and the tax collector on all existing businesses. By law, the town is required to advertise liquor, victualling, and event licenses. The town would continue to advertise and notify all abutters when there is a transfer of business or a new business coming to town. So if we just eliminated the advertising for those businesses that we are not required to, those businesses wouldn't have to reimburse us for the cost of the advertising, and it would be a savings. It's a start, a small savings for them. So that's why this has come about.
So you're gonna make the motion?
You want me to?
Well, yep, you stepped in there.
I make a motion that we only advertise for the liquor, victualling, and event license.
I would say only advertise for, the state required.
Required,
Yeah,
okay.
because that might add.
Okay. I make a motion that we only advertise for the state required licenses going forward.
So, and Joe seconded. Discussion from the council. Any discussion? Questions, Mrs. Riley? No?
Huh?
Do you have a question?
Well, just that where we have so little, public, I don't know, exposure to what's happening in town government.
Mhm.
I just hate to see any, and I understand, you know, the price of the advertising, but I hate to see any, diminishment of transparency where the public knows what's coming up.
Well, I think it could be put on the website.
It will still be on the agenda.
And it could be on the agenda, but it just wouldn't be in the paper where these little businesses
Right, I
have to
just,
pay for
yeah, I
it.
know, more people just look at the Observer than they do the website, to be honest with you.
Well, we have to start retraining them.
Yeah, good luck with that.
I know.
Any further discussion? Yes.
I think it's a positive step, a little tiny bit of money that each individual business saves to not have to foolishly waste on that type of advertising when they could better use their money to advertise on a pro-business ad,
Mhm.
And it's
as
not
opposed
related
to
to them.
just something to do with the town licensing.
Plus, a lot of these businesses have been in business for years, and we make them advertise every year for the same business. We still get sign up from the police and the tax collector. also building and zoning to make sure that their buildings are up to code. So it's kind of just a well, for the most part. But it would, I think would help.
Well, I mean, it's not like it's money going in our pockets, it's money being reimbursed to the town. I just think that this little bit of savings is a good start, it's a place to start.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? November and December town council meetings. I was looking ahead, and November 20. No. Oh, I'm good, thank you. November 28th is Thanksgiving. And that
one night?
You can come,
You can bring the turkey.
but you gotta sit outside.
Leftovers around 7 o'clock?
Our first meeting for November would be the 14th. The second would be the 28th, which is Thanksgiving. Looking at November, what is the pleasure of the council? Obviously, we can't have one on the 28th. Did you want to have one on the 21st?
I'll make a motion that we eliminate the November 28th meeting, which would fall on Thanksgiving, and the December 26th, which falls the day after Christmas, unless something arises that we need to address.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Letter from Senator Rogers for a possible joint police building with Situate. You have two letters in your packet. One is from Senator Rogers to our council. The second is from Representative Catroci, thank you, to the Situate Town Council. Would someone like to read Mr. Rogers' letter?
Which one is?
Mr. Rogers, would you like this?
No, I've got it. Okay, dear President DeFranco and council members, I write regarding the possibility of a joint municipal police building project with the town of Situate. As you are aware, Situate is in the middle of a difficult police station building project. I believe there exists an opportunity for the two towns to work together in an effort to save both towns money on their respective policing needs. These two communities that are very similar in character have the opportunity to share a facility. Both towns are in the midst of police building projects with challenges, and I feel that this is an absolute opportune time that doesn't come along often to look at combining a facility that houses both police departments in their entirety. Constituents have been talking to me in both towns asking and why the councils are not addressing the possibility of a shared facility. As a former town councilor in Foster, I met in the past with Situate officials to discuss the possibility of sharing public safety facilities. It seems that that opportunity has arisen again, and I am happy to facilitate any possible discussions between the two towns. I have enclosed a letter from Representative Robert Quattrochi to the Situate Council. He is receiving the same feedback and also stands ready to assist in beginning a conversation between the towns. Please feel free to contact me to discuss this or any other matter further. Sincerely, Gordon Rogers.
We also have Representative Catroci.
I'll read his when I put my glasses on. He's got a smaller font.
He does.
Okay. Dear President Brady and council members, let me start by saying thank you for your service and commitment to our community. Recently, I have been receiving many calls from our shared constituents in regards to the police station project. Understandably, they feel that they've been hoaxed by the deeply flawed and underfunded project which you've inherited from the previous administration. I tried my best to explain that this is not in the jurisdiction of my position as state representative. I do wish to share with you, though, the common thread of my conversations. All of us in Situate have been pushed into a corner with this project with not many options, which don't require financial pain to the taxpayers to address. Our constituents have overwhelmingly conveyed to me that now may be the time to consider serious discussions with the town of Foster in sharing the police facility. We are in a struggle to figure out how to financially complete our project while Foster is in the process of considering a new police facility of their own. I do agree with our constituents who feel at the very least this discussion should be considered. it would make sense that our two abutting communities could realize substantial financial benefits in working together rather than struggle independently. I have discussed this matter with our state senator Gordon Rogers, who is receiving feedback. He seems interested in helping to facilitate any possible discussions. I write this letter with the deepest respect and recognition of my jurisdictional boundaries and only seek to share with you the feedback I have received from our mutual constituents. As always, feel free to reach out to me at any time. Sincerely, Robert Quattrochi, Deputy Minority Whip.
I would entertain a motion in the positive for discussion.
Okay, let me see. So okay, I'll make a motion that we appoint 2 council members to speak with the town of Situate, if they are willing, concerning this possible joint venture.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion.
I'm happy to start. I am, when it was mentioned at the last council meeting, I was astonished that any talks had even begun, because I think that if any talks were to begin, that Mr. Rogers should have approached the council first and talked to us about it and seeking approval for this. I think he went too far. I think he's tried, I know he's tried to do this before. I have spoken to some people, and I don't believe that Situate Council is on board with this. I think that yet remains to be seen. They have to have their meeting like we're having right now. But I am opposed to moving our police station out of this town for very many reasons. We need them in the center of town. We need them to be here to be able to respond quickly to any of the calls. As you learned from his report tonight, they're busy. They are on the go all the time. They answer many varied calls. To have them housed in Situate, to me, is just unthinkable. On the financial side of it, why in the heck would this town give Situate $1.5 million, which is what I was told it would require for us to move over there, when for $2.5 million, we can have them right here in our town. We would own it, and it would be here for our citizens.
Yes.
The other thing is, once, we did that once with the regional system, we have no control. Once they were housed there, they would, believe me, it might not happen the first year, but I'm sure it would happen the second year or the third year. We would lose total control of the police station, and I believe we would find that our officers and our dispatchers would all be either without a job or be working for Situate. They are here to help and to serve us, and that would not do the town any service by them being housed over there. And secondly, that building is, I can't even put it in nice words, that's a mess.
It's a disaster.
It's a disaster. And it's not even big enough to house 2 police stations or 2 police corps. I know that the chief, I talked to him earlier, and he has some things he'd like to say, and I'd really like for him to say them so that people can hear his opinion of it. I could go on, but I think you understand where I'm coming from, and I am opposed to even having talks with Situate. This is our town. We are very close to getting our building planning board to fruition, to come to the town for approval. I don't want to see another monkey wrench thrown into it like it was before, and we're delayed yet again.
And Kelly, how much money do we already have into plans to build a new police station? 25,000?
Well, we'll be 30 if we ever get the bill for the
30,000.
other one, because we never did get
And
the bill, so.
I actually spoke to two of our counterparts in Situate, and they're not on board.
Well, I am noticing that their letter was September 23rd. Now, I don't know whether it's ever been on the agenda or not.
It has not, and they don't know anything about it.
Well, they did get a letter.
No, they didn't. The town council president did not distribute it.
Didn't
Oh,
distribute
he
it,
didn't
but
distribute
received it?
Okay.
Hmm?
Did he receive it and not distribute it?
Oh, I don't know what happened, but they
Okay.
never got it.
Well, I
That's-
assume.
that's what they told me.
I'm assuming
That's a
that
month.
he got it because it was.
It's very old, so
Right.
I mean, I assume they didn't receive it yet.
Okay.
I assume they will eventually.
And I do know that they had their financial town meeting, that special meeting,
And
October 15th.
they
Yeah,
approved
and
the
they
$2 million
approved.
bond.
Yeah, they did, a big bond for the completion of their police
It's a
station.
disaster. The last council left it an absolute disaster.
One second, Council, thank you. Anyone else on the council like to?
Well, I just think Situate's in turmoil. They're,
Mhm.
I agree.
The independents are gonna run again, and try to get back in.
Yeah, and God forbid we have to deal with them.
Right.
That's my feeling. It's like going into business with a bad partner.
Exactly. I mean, now we'd be okay, but,
We don't even know that.
well, it should be.
I assumed, and maybe assuming is not right, since it was dated September 23rd, that they had already addressed it, and
So did I.
that they haven't reached out to us,
They,
speaks that they
Still
wouldn't, right? Well, I'm thinking, are we gonna get a letter like we did from
Right.
Gloucester, saying, yeah, no.
no,
Right. So in their financial town meeting, it passed, so,
Is it possible for the chief to speak?
of course, I just wanted the council to
Yeah.
have first. Mrs. Ryder, do you mind if the chief speaks first? Chief.
Well, good way to start. It's a bit sudden, a bit shocking on this out recently. I'm not really prepared, but in my opinion, I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think the people of Foster should have to travel to another jurisdiction to get police assistance. I wholeheartedly believe that the Foster Police Department belongs to the people of Foster. And they need to know and feel that we're here for them. You know, Situate's a good town. They got a good police department, so does Foster. And I think it's extremely important that each department maintain their separate identities so they can meet the individual needs of each of their communities. And I gotta tell you, this raises a whole other gambit of questions. Evidence handling, processing prisoners, all the way down the locker room size. If it means anything to you, I've been in this business 26.5 years. And where I came from, I saw it all. I smell liability. And if you're asking me, in my opinion, I want to stay right here in Foster. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you, Chief. Mrs. Ryder, thank you for waiting.
We've been here, done this with the region, and I think we should learn the lessons. Gloucester took Foster to court. And it was ruled because initially, for those people who don't know, we had equal representation. They took us to court and the court ruled, one man, one vote. They have twice as many people in their town. They have twice as much representation. The same thing, actually, Situate has a few more people than Gloucester does. It would be the exact same scenario. And I agree with the chief. Our towns are not that similar. There are so many more businesses, there are so many more concerns, I think, in Situate than there are in Foster. And to spread a joint police department thinner and thinner, we would be the losers. And we would have absolutely no control. And I really question the number of constituents that are banging down the door saying they want this. My gut would say they don't even know, and nobody's mentioned a thing, unless it was mentioned to them. So, I mean, we should learn from lessons, painful lessons. Anybody thinking that this would lower our taxes? No.
Mr. Renz.
Being in the building committee, Mr. Rogers brought that up before, and I spoke to the people on the town council there. They weren't interested then. I don't know if they're interested now. I just believe that, first and foremost, I think it should have been brought to the council and asked if the council's interested in it. I kind of agree with you. Second, should have maybe asked the chief if he's interested in it. Okay, he's the guy that's gotta live in it, and not just go and grandstand and, you know, we're in a good position. They don't need our money. They've already floated the bonds, they already went to their town financial meetings, okay? And if you ask that chief, he probably don't wanna be bothered with our department either, because it does bring in a whole bunch of different stuff, okay? So now to bring it up again, and to like, I guess like you said, a monkey wrench, to even bring this up, I think we should spend more time getting more police officers, because I feel for the one guy that's working at night,
Exactly.
okay? And showing up at my house when it was robbed, and I was told that I had to leave my vehicle there until the afternoon shift, because the police officer that does the BCIs worked a 20-hour shift or whatever, he worked a double shift, and he couldn't.
Came in the next morning for you, but.
Same time, he came when they called, but I mean, that's unfortunate that it should have to be the guy
I agree. Yeah, you're
that's
right.
doing that. So I think our focuses should be, that's Situate, this is us, okay? We should just concentrate on how to pay for what we need to pay for, whether it's smaller, bigger, whatever, okay? And move it that way. This is just really, it was brought up once before, and the guy literally laughed at me, and he's still on the council. He says, really? I don't think so. Okay, so I don't know where this is coming from. So, you know, you could smirk at me,
I'm not smirking at you, I just have a,
okay?
no, I just, when you said that this, it wasn't being done properly, the letters were sent to the councils to just ask for a discussion.
Yeah,
And I know it was brought up before,
yeah,
and there were other options that were brought up before.
a lot of options. A lot of
I love
options.
having our cops in town, believe me, because I work with them more than any of us.
Yeah,
My concern is if, when we finally do get a number and we put it to a financial town meeting, if it fails, where are we? I mean, should we at least ask Situate, and if they say, no, we're not interested, then it's a dead discussion?
If that's-
I mean, I'm hearing from Joe that they're not interested.
Well, that's from two councilors, that's all I can say.
Right.
if what makes sense, if we're not, who's paying what for oil, who's paying what for electricity, that's my parking space, no, that's yours over there.
There would have to be a feasibility study.
I mean, just figuring that out would be crazy, okay? And then the second thing is, if they came in and said, okay, it's 50-50, for the little extra, we have our own. If we have to
That's right.
clip it somewhere, to have our own. If it means you guys have a 2,500 square foot building with 3 cells, okay, that the town will vote for, that's what we have to do. But to shrink and go with another town, I mean, I don't know, that's just my opinion.
I think, Heidi, that it's up to us, it behooves us to go out there and work and sell it. We know what they need, we invite people to go in there, we know what the police do for us, we have to promote them more, the chief has to promote them more. They are doing their jobs, they're doing it well, I know that.
Mhm.
And we've got the building committee almost ready to come before us, and we have to sell it. And I think we have something we can sell, and especially if we do it in conjunction with the library, I think that we'll have what we need. And I think we can do it.
And if it fails?
If it fails, we come back with another plan, Heidi. We're not down, and
It's
we're
kind
not
of-
dead. Well, we'll figure out
Okay,
something.
all right, and I'm not disagreeing with you, like I said, I love having the cops in town, believe me, I do. I love having the station right here, I wouldn't wanna have to drive all the way to Situate either to get a VIN check or go whatever. But I'm just, my thing is, if it's a question to Situate, and Situate says no, I'm not advocating for it, I'm just saying it could be a plan B, it was brought to us, we asked Situate.
I think after the last fiasco, I think that if push comes to shove, you're gonna see all these people come out and they're gonna vote for it. I really believe it's gonna pass.
Mr. Dillon, you had your hand, excuse me, Mr. Dillon, you had your hand up before?
Yeah, I was listening to the dialogue on, it sounds like, where people saying, oh, it's gonna be, next thing you know, Situate's gonna absorb Foster. Is this for regionalization of the police departments, or is this to share a building?
The letter doesn't really say.
No, it says that it says in here that they
Sharing
house-
public safety facilities,
house
Well,
both police departments in their entirety, meaning,
sharing facilities.
right?
But that's how Foster Gloucester Regional System started. Please keep that in mind, that's exactly how it started. And I was here for that,
So
and
you're
that's
not
why.
for regionalization?
No, I am not, because they will absorb us, they will take control. We are a small town, yes, we are, but we are a town where we have needs that need to be met, and they are meeting them. I don't believe they will be met by housing us over there. I think they will absorb us, and they will control in the end.
I think in my opinion, I'm not for it, because I don't know enough about it. But what I am against is we have a little discussion and the whole concept just goes out the window. Nobody even wants to talk about it. That seems that the concept in this town is what we do is we come in, we rally, we knock the thing down because we don't wanna talk about it.
I think Situate's already knocked it down.
I do too.
Say again?
I think Situate's already knocked it down.
Well, do you know that for
If they-
sure?
No, I don't.
Well, stop thinking. Stop thinking. You don't know that.
Mr. Dillon, I'm sorry.
If you don't know,
That's only my only thought is.
the biggest problem in this town is you can't have a conversation. You cannot have a conversation.
We are having the conversation,
No.
but you're hearing
No, you're having a conversation about
as.
making something go away
Actually, Mr.
without
Dillon, what,
conversation.
Mr. Dillon, before you asked me to stop thinking, what I was going to say is that I would be willing to reach out to Mr. Brady to see whether or not they did receive a letter.
Just find out.
And see if
Without
they,
knocking it down, just find out.
without my thinking, that's what I was gonna say.
If it doesn't sound good, I will be against it also.
Thank you. Audrey, you had your hand up.
A lot of people in town think that we don't need the police, we don't have any crime, we don't need, there's nothing going on. What do we need a police station for? What do we need the police for? We have to sell and tell people what these guys and girls do. A lot of towns have a list in their little local paper, what their arrests were, what they've done, what, I think if we put a little thing in maybe the Foster Home Journal, and list what every arrest and everything that these guys are doing, girls are doing. You know, I mean, you have to tell people, this is what's happening in town. A lot of people don't know.
I believe Johnston does that.
Everybody
Yeah, they do.
does.
Yeah.
Putnam paper has
Yeah.
a whole list of the names, their addresses, their ages. That's public record. They have it on there.
And
We
the
have to
Sunrise
show
Report.
what these guys and girls are doing out there. You know, I mean, put it, I don't know where you can put it, in the Foster Home Journal, I don't know where. But you have to tell the people in this town what these guys and girls do. I mean, they have to
I don't
know.
think people realize.
They don't know. I mean, the domestics in this town, I mean, everything. It's ridiculous what goes on in this town, and nobody has a clue.
Thank you. Someone else has their hand raised. Yes.
I'm just wondering about the safety. Does anybody think about the safety of the townspeople? If there's something happening in Situate and they're all there, and someone broke into my home, and I have to wait 30 minutes instead of 10 minutes.
They don't even know where my house is.
I know where your house is.
I mean, are people considering that as well?
Those are all things that, yes, we will need to discuss.
People here in the public as well.
So-
And Mr. Rogers as well.
Did you, yes, no?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
No, I just wanted to say that you know, this would be another case where if we went into this, even if you say, you know, the two departments in their entirety, that's a building we don't really own. It is not in our town. If it did not work out, we have nowhere to bring them back to. We also don't have an asset in town. And I really think that if all the officials got on board and sold a new police station, yes, I think the people, you know, would back our department.
Thank you. Lisa, did you have your hand?
I did. I don't think conversation ever hurts, and I think that, the council needs to be more proactive with getting the conversation started, because Situate, if they're not too thrilled about doing it, they're not gonna come looking to you for it. You need to, find out what's on the table, what are the options, because what you're gonna do is you're gonna offer one thing to the public, and when that fails, what do you have? Nothing. You have no out. If you say, okay, we can do this with Situate, if Situate's open to it and all the terms seem okay, or we can build our own for this, let the town decide. Why just pigeonhole into a potential failure, which is a very potential failure, to say, okay, you people are paying astronomical taxes and it's gonna increase. Because it's not 2.5 million, it's a lot more than that.
No, it is it's down to that, Lisa.
It is.
It is, Lisa.
No, it's down.
I was at the
Down.
last planning board meeting,
For the building. It is down.
It's down,
It's down.
way down than that.
So how did it go from 4?
You listen to the wrong people.
Exactly.
Anthony, why don't you just stop commenting?
Okay, no
to me?
talking in between. Thank you.
Well, let me ask the solicitor something. If we went forward with this and we decided we wanted to do it, does it have to go before the people? I would want it to be a referendum on the next election.
That we go to Situate?
If we,
I don't think we would, right, I
if we
would say.
even decide it, I think the people have to vote
Oh,
on it
yes.
before anything happens.
I would think that. I mean,
Well, right,
And not at a financial town meeting,
Right,
But this can stop
on a
right here.
referendum vote.
I mean, depending on if you're gonna
It's way high.
regionalize, that's a whole nother story.
Right.
If you're trying to just
That's what.
stick
what I-
yourself half in the building.
Right, well, that's where this will end up. If we go there, it'll end up a
Right.
region. Because the first thing they'll do is they'll get rid of the dispatchers, that'll be number one. Then they'll get rid of our police, and then we'll have the Situate police, which I don't want. Our police, they're here. They know the area, they know us, they fit here. Situate is a whole different land, it's a whole different world. And that's my opinion, and I won't vote for it, and I don't wanna talk about it. And if it fails,
That's a very bad attitude to have.
That's
as a
my
council
attitude. If
person.
you don't like it,
wanna
it's too
talk,
bad.
You don't wanna talk, you don't even like talking.
Listen.
Learn knowledge, that's just asinine.
it's not learning, it's a bad idea.
It's asinine to not, to
It's a
not learn
bad
any
idea,
information.
period. And I am not gonna vote for it. That's it. We'll figure out how to put the station in. If that's it, why don't we just merge with Situate? That's a huge money saving.
It's a rental agreement,
It's not a rental
just
agreement.
because two.
Is the region a rental agreement? No.
I think it'll entail a little bit more than a.
This is a bad path we're
I
going
think
down.
it'll be
And
more
I won't
than
vote
a.
for it.
You think, nobody's even talked to them.
I have.
That's what I want. You just-
I have talked to
Joe,
them.
you come up with all these assumptions, you think. And
I didn't
so
think,
it
I
is-
talked to them.
So did a lot of people. But no, none of them are truthful, and you just need to sit down as an official, sitting down, talking to an official.
I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea, so what do I have to talk about?
It won't
Mr.
hurt.
Cardillo has the right to believe that it's not a good idea, just as you have the right to believe that it is.
I don't believe it's a good idea either.
So, Mr. Renzi.
What Michael's trying to get at, and there's two things here. Either we split a building, okay, 50-50, whatever, or we take Foster and Situate if they would, and regionalize it and make it one police department serving two towns.
Right.
Okay, here's your two differences, okay? Which I think I don't know if that would save us money or not in the town, I don't know, chief, but I mean, that would mean there'd be one chief, somebody else, and I don't know what name we use, but I mean, those are the two options with another town. We either split the building, okay, I wouldn't rent it from them, I wanted to own 50% of it.
Why
If I'm gonna
50?
put up that
That's
kind of
the
money.
thing.
Twice as many
Right,
cops
exactly.
over there than we have.
And the second thing would be,
Why 50-50?
you just combine both police departments and have one, and then you might as well go get Gloucester, because they're kind of small, take all three and make the Esplanade.
There you
whatever
go.
they want to do.
That's it. That's good, that's it.
My motion was simply to have a discussion, and I'm not saying I'm advocating for
It's
it, I'm
simple,
not saying.
it's simple, she just picks up the phone, calls Jimmy Brady and say, you guys interested, it's yes or no, you guys wanna discuss it, so you're getting all the opinions from
There you go.
7 townspeople in this town, and that's what you're gonna get. And it's on video, Gordon can see it when you go home, he'll know what everybody thinks about it.
That's fine. That's fine, I made a motion to have a discussion, that's all. I'm not saying I'm advocating for it, I love our cops, I work with our cops, like I said,
No
more
one's
than you
saying you
guys
don't
do.
like them, you're just hearing everybody's
Glenn.
opinion, okay? No
Okay.
one says you don't like them.
No, I know, but I mean, I'm not saying that it's something, I'm saying, yes, we should go to Situate, I'm saying this, it's a discussion. It's a
Simple phone
question,
call.
it's a question.
It's a simple phone
So
call.
there is a motion for 2 council members to meet with Situate.
Or would you like me to withdraw that and,
Yes.
and say that you call them
Thank
and
you.
find out if they are interested in doing that?
Thank you.
Okay. I'll withdraw my motion. I have a
And
second.
Chris seconded. No, yes, Chris
I
seconded.
move my second.
Okay, so my new motion is for Denise to contact the president of the Situate Town Council and find out if they are interested in pursuing this,
And
or
report
having a
back,
discussion.
and report back to the council?
Yes, it'll be on the November 14th.
Second.
Discussion on that.
I'm opposed. I don't wanna even discuss it, and I'm sorry if you think I'm not sorry. You might think I'm narrow-minded, but I'm not. I know what happens, but everything that has been said here tonight is proof positive of what happens when those things take place. I'm
Sure, can I
opposed.
say one thing? It's not about making a decision, it's about letting the townspeople know,
Oh,
you're trying. Why are you gonna all take the blame for it? Why not put it on Situate and say, we went to them to see if we could do a better financial situation.
It's a bad
They don't
idea.
want it. I'm just trying to talk. It's not a bad idea
Okay,
to talk to
let's
anybody.
just, it should be to
But
the council.
I think if you talk to them,
I understand
you're
what
not
you're
taking
saying,
all the
Lisa.
heat for it.
I don't care,
The
I'll
town-
take the heat.
The town is like, we know, we wanna see numbers, people wanna see everything, we don't want it jammed down our throat that we can afford it, or we can't afford it. You just, I think knowledge is power, and to talk to those people isn't gonna harm anything. You might hear something that, wow, that's a great idea, but that's a bad idea. Let's not do it in the building we're doing it in. You might be able to glean some information on what to do and what not to do in the building that you want to build. I think talking to them is a positive thing. I don't think just calling them on the phone, is that gonna work? No, it's not gonna work, okay, see you later. And just going at that, I think more than 2 people should go, actually.
We
And
can't,
do
that. We have to have.
We can't do 3 people and go
No,
and.
no.
Yeah.
That
It would be a public.
It'd be a public hearing. So if that's been withdrawn, so the motion that's been made is that I call Mr. Brady, who is the council president in Situate, and talk to him. I would like to say some things if I may be. I did speak to Joe Walsh, who is the chair of the police building committee, and I told him that this was gonna be on the agenda. I did not share the letters with him, but I did tell him that this was gonna be on the agenda. He could not make it to tonight's meeting. He and I discussed. He obviously was opposed to it. I said I would not be as presumptuous as to assume that people in Forster would not want to do this. I am not going to make that decision for the people in Forster. I would vote yes that I would contact Mr. Brady, simply because I think it's up to the people of Forster. I agree with you, Joe. Let them decide. I'm not going to decide what everyone in Forster wants. I know what I would like. I would work towards whatever we present. I think presenting 2 ideas, if Situate's willing to meet with us, we present both ideas, and here it is, and let the people of Forster decide. We were voted to represent. I think this is beyond us saying yes or no.
Right.
That would be my position, is that contact Situate, see if they're willing, then we let the people of Forster decide.
Yes, we were voted to represent, but I've been called by numerous people. I have been spoken to again about this, and they all don't want to see this happen. They don't want any part of becoming part of Situate.
That's not what the letter's about, Cheryl. It says nothing about becoming
No,
part of
I know
Situate.
it, I know that, Heidi, but I see down the road where it will take us.
Well, and then, those are things that I think we have to present both sides. These are the pros and cons of not utilizing, but sharing a building with Situate. These are the pros and cons of our having our own building, and let the people of Forster decide. And I think, I know our charter says for a new building, we have to go to a financial town meeting.
I know, I think it has to go beyond that.
So
I think,
with
for
that,
me to move forward, I would have to have a vote of this council that we will go to a binding referendum at the election.
well,
That would be the only way I would support it.
I think 80 people showing up at a
That's
financial
it.
town meeting is not enough.
We might as well make the decision here, but
Right,
80 people,
exactly.
it doesn't get it done.
I understand. That would be what I would suggest.
All right, move the question.
We have a
Excuse me.
motion.
I just want to say.
I think you said a lot.
No, this
Thank
is
you, Ms.
about Cheryl and Joe.
I don't care.
Okay.
It's-
By
it's
having them vote to send you are saying that they are for the investigation, and they are not for this investigation.
Thank you.
There is no
Thank
reason
you,
why
Mrs.
you
Ryder.
cannot contact the president of the council over there without a vote from this council. Because a positive vote from this council
There's a
sends
motion
the
on the
message
floor. I've asked
that
to move
they
the
want
question.
It's been moved, thank you. So we have a motion, it's been moved, and all, it's been moved.
Can I amend
Cheryl, it's
the
been
motion?
moved. You want to amend it?
Yeah, I have a better idea. We invite Mr. Brady here in front of the council.
In other words, you don't trust me.
Well, she-
Mr.
No,
Brady?
I think that then
That's the
everybody can
impression I
hear.
get.
No, that,
Thank
and
you.
then I think everybody can hear the same thing at the same time and be on the same page.
I'm not sure Mr. Brady would, well, I don't know, I can't speak, I don't know Mr. Brady. So, well, the motion is to allow me to call Mr. Brady. It has been amended to invite Mr. Brady here. Is there a second?
Second.
You amended it, you
Yeah, I
just
did.
amended
Okay,
it.
I thought
And
you
Mr.
said I wouldn't.
Cardillo seconded. Discussion on Mr. Brady being invited here.
I don't have a problem with that.
Hearing none, all in favor of the amendment? Aye. All those approving the main motion, would I need to call? Okay. Aye.
No.
Opposed? No.
No.
So I will have to call him
I'll
to
say aye.
invite him. I'm
I'm
sorry.
all to invite him.
I don't know unless he watches the video.
No,
But,
yes, I just meant to talk about it in front of the council.
yes, I will talk to
I
him,
thought that
I
might
will
be
invite
a
him.
way to,
I will invite him to the meeting, and then we go from there to the November 14th meeting. Thank you. That's, it's okay. Moving on. And Mrs. Morrow, thank you so much for staying.
I'm not gonna stay for the next one.
It's executive session, so you can't anyway.
No,
November 14th.
Oh, November
The list is
14th,
getting longer and longer here for November 14th.
Yeah,
So
okay.
you have before you a grant from the Office of Healthy Aging, which is formerly the DEA, and Mrs. Morrow asked, oh, my mind is not thinking. Could you please, Carol,
I just want Denise to sign it so that we can get our $4,300.
that's
You have to wait an hour and
Yes.
20 minutes.
It is for, I highlighted how much it's for, $4,329.
This is a grant that they've been doing every year. I mean, I've been here 8 years. It's been every year since I've been here, and God knows how many years when Nancy was here before me. It's a state grant.
We make the motion, we approve this grant.
Second.
Second. Oh,
Yep.
Discussion,
yeah, Chris.
hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Thank you. Future agenda items, I have several things here. A proclamation for November 14th, Thanksgiving proclamation, I have that on. The solar ordinance is continued. The Historic Oversight Committee is meeting tonight, so there will be They will present what's going on so far. The Situate Police, Mr. Brady being invited. The planning board letter that you have in your packet from the, regarding the trucks, is on, those are all on November 14th. We have the police station update that Cheryl had asked for in the past, which is still a future agenda item.
I have one thing.
Yep.
St. Croix.
What about St. Croix?
I've been informed that it's been closed down and that there are other homes involved. There's nothing going on there. No
Is
one's
that-
been up
Is
to
that
it.
going to be an
Executive
executive
session.
session, then I don't think we can.
Okay. We can discuss that.
Mhm.
Anything else for a future agenda item?
Liquor licenses again.
Oh, in November? Yes, thank you. I'll take a motion to go into executive session.
I make a motion to go into executive
No,
session.
it has to be read.
Oh, yeah,
No, no,
yeah,
no,
no, please, go ahead.
42-46-5.
I move to go into executive closed session for the reasons stated in Rhode Island General Laws 42-46-5.
Oh, I think you can just close
Discussions
it.
of work sessions regarding collective
Sure.
bargaining, contract negotiations,